Hello everyone, hello once again, and welcome to the Prismata News and Game Dev Updates show. I am your host, Elliot, and today we are going to be talking about all of the plans for Prismata in 2019. Welcome, thanks for joining us. Hello Twitch chat, and hello to all of you watching later on YouTube. 2018 was the hugest year for Prismata, for Lunark Studios ever. We did our Steam Early Access launch. We had paid Early Access and then free-to-play Early Access. We had our free weekend in the summer, which was a massive spike of players. We spent far more on advertising than we ever have. We tried all kinds of different things. We had the biggest spike of players that we've had since Kickstarter. It was really a remarkable year, and we had a whole lot of fun. 2019 we are hoping will be bigger, manyfold than 2018. So recently, let's see. Well, recently we did a small patch earlier in the month in January. We've been working on a few small minor tweaks there and there, but it kind of, I know some people have said they felt that there hasn't been a big update in a while. Other than that balance patch. And it is because in the background we have been working on sort of one of the biggest projects we've done in a long time, which is integrating Prismata into a lot of different APIs for different publishers and distributors that we're working with. And I talked about this a little bit in the last video, but I want to explain this a bit more. So we have publishing agreements with a number of companies that are either going to publish Prismata on certain, say, websites or online stores, or in certain regions or certain countries. And these agreements, when we say a publishing agreement, it means they are either paying for advertising or paying to license Prismata from us. And they're not just distributing the game, they're actively trying to promote it and sell it, right? So, you know, we have... you know, Prismata, for example, we have a deal where it will be featured for a whole weekend on a website that all of you have probably heard of, a gaming website, as part of a deal to promote the game, right? So, and in order to do this, we've been having to integrate Prismata into platforms that are similar to Steam, for things like authentication, purchasing, blah, blah, blah. We actually hired a new person to do this. The person we hired is J.R. Kirby, who's actually you may have seen him on the ladder before. He's been part of the Prismata community for a few years. But we hired him as sort of an API integration specialist, and he will also be working on the mobile version of Prismata, which is coming later this year. We are also working on a sort of a deluxe edition of the game. The deluxe edition of the game will have all the campaign, some puzzle content, the sort of non-DLC puzzle content, but it will sort of be sold as a standalone, so that it's not like a free-to-play game that you then upgrade. It's just a full deluxe edition. It will feature like offline single player, so you'll be able to play through the whole campaign, save your game, load your game on an airplane, as well as the multiplayer. And we're trying to think of a few sort of special features to throw in that deluxe edition, but it'll sort of be the same as if you have Engineer Tier right now. Anyways, and the idea for deluxe edition would be that we can sell it on sites like Humble and GOG, which are DRM free, so you don't have to like make an account and agree to any agreements or anything to play the game. You can just go pay 25 bucks, buy Prismata, play the game, and then play some multiplayer if you want. You will not be able to pay to remove build time on Tarsiers. That has been far more work than I thought possible. You know, for our new hire J.R. Kirby, as well as for me, like the process of doing biz dev with all of these companies, having meetings and discussions, signing contracts, like FedExing contracts to other countries so that you can get sometimes 2 and 3 different signatures on it to make it work. For one of these publishing deals, it's a foreign publisher, so they're paying us from another country, and so we needed to get a tax residency status in order to have proper tax treaties so that this other country wouldn't be taking a bunch of our revenue for tax. And in order to do that, like, the process is so unbelievably complicated. It's like I had to go to my lawyer and get notarized version of Lunark Studios articles of incorporation to prove that I had signing authority to the company. And then I had to talk to the Canada Revenue Agency to get them to send us a form which clarified the residency status of Lunark Studios, that it is indeed a Canadian company. And then that form had to get sent to Global Affairs Canada so that they could sort of notarize it as an official copy, which then had to get forwarded to a foreign embassy or consulate so that they could legalize it for use in that country, and then that has to get sent over there. And stuff like this is just a little bit soul-sucking. And you know, I like to make video games, right? That's the thing I love. And something I'm a little bit regretful of is that in the last year, I have had to spend a lot of time doing stuff that isn't making video games. Don't get me wrong, I am willing to do whatever it takes to make Prismata successful, and that has always been my MO. But it, you know, when Chapter 4 takes a little bit longer than it needs to, it's literally because I am being pulled in all of these directions by all these different things. Not to mention all of the different marketing and advertising, all the stuff we tried with, like, Twitch Bounty Board, Google Display Network ads, stuff like that. It's just a huge amount of effort, and we're now working with, like, PR teams and marketing people, you know, just trying different things to see what works in promoting the game. And we have had successes. Like, we know of good ways to attract new players to Prismata for a cost that we're willing to pay. That has gone well. But it's just the time that it has taken and the sort of learning curve for us as not just game developers, but game publishers that are now trying to self-publish Prismata and sell it to a wide audience. It's a lot of work. And, you know, I'm glad that we have done the work that we've done, because I think we are now prepared to make Prismata as successful as it can be. I mean, we're more prepared than we were last year when we just put Steam Early Access up. But it's been a lot of work, and I really want to apologize if you wish there have been more actual game updates in the last months, but I assure you we've been working really hard on a lot of shit. I also want to apologize about localization, because I know a number of people have been helping getting translations set up, and some of them are in the game, some of them are still not in the game yet. David has been handling a bunch of that, and he sort of went on vacation for a while, and you know, he's been taking it's been taking a longer time than we would have liked to get all that stuff into the game, because as it turns out, localization is a lot of work, and there were many hundreds of things that still needed to be fixed, and that's taken a long time. If it doesn't get done soon, then I may just do what I can to put the existing translations into the game, because I really want as many people as possible to have access to Prismata and to be able to play at least part of the game in their language. We're actually working on getting the campaign translated into a few languages. We've developed tools that make it easier to sort of test that, but it's there's been so many things that have come up, you know, like, oh, this language has this sort of grammar feature, and we need to find a way to deal with it in the sort of info panels that automatically generate the cards. And it's, yeah, translating a game that has this many words. Prismata has like 50,000 words. And even ignoring the campaign, it's like way more than 10,000 words. It's actually a lot of work, and there's a lot of stuff in the game that is sort of dynamically generated text, like info panels and stuff like that. So, you know, David's been taking a long time to do it, but it's not because he's, you know, it's because there's been so much shit. So I really want to apologize on behalf of David for that taking a long time too. But yeah, that's sort of been the last few months in a nutshell. It's been very stressful, and it's actually been weighing on me a lot. Sometime last fall, I like injured my hand. It wasn't a keyboard injury. It was actually in the gym. I was just like doing push-ups and hurt myself. And I couldn't work for a little while. And like my wrist was too swollen to use a keyboard. It healed. It's fine now. But it's just, you know, all of this stuff coming together and all the stress really sort of had me in a mood last fall where we're right at the cusp of finishing Prismata, but it feels like this arduous climb to get to the top and to push through and to get everything done. And rest assured, I am motivated as hell. We are working as hard as we can to do stuff. But it's also, you know, when you're working on a video game for many years, sometimes you lose sight of what's important in life. And for me, you know, I've always tried to eat healthy, be healthy, spend time with friends and family, do the things that I love. And that gets harder when you're working like 12 hours a day or 14 hours a day, which I actually, for the early years of Prismata, I was working 14 hours a day often in most days of the work week. And I've kind of realized as I've grown older that that's sort of unsustainable if I want to like be healthy and sane as a human being. So I've also tried to take some time, like during the holidays, I actually took a substantial time off to just like chill and try and think about, you know, myself and my own health. And I've been trying to think about some side projects that I want to do as well. Like I really want to get back into content creation. I used to do a lot of blogging about Prismata game dev and stuff like that, and that ended up just consuming a huge amount of time. But I was very happy with some of the results, and I've been thinking about whether or not I want to organize those blogs into some kind of book or write something. I've also been thinking about just in general wanting to write more about game development or sort of talk more about it. I've been thinking about starting like a vlogging series on certain aspects of game and puzzle design. I'd be very interested actually to hear what people would like for me to talk about. I think puzzle design in particular is a topic that does not get enough attention and could be sort of interesting. So I've been thinking about like starting a second YouTube channel and doing some kind of just very short videos where I talk about stuff as a way of trying to not just constrain myself to discussing Prismata, but also game development in general, because I think it's fun to engage with the community and share ideas and sort of you know, not just try to do it to promote Prismata, but actually just, you know, have good discussions with interesting people over the internet. I also want to do more streaming. I think the last couple of months I've been so tied up with work that I haven't, like, streaming has never really been a priority, and I think I want to change it so that it becomes one. Like, I think I want to actually have a time each week where I'm doing streaming, and I've been trying to think of when that should be, because weekends are only an option sometime. Like, sometimes it might be better if I just pick a day of the week and stream then, but then I'm not working a day of the week or half a day of the week, and so I'd have to sort of rearrange my schedule. But maybe it'll be like Fridays or something. The problem is Friday evenings we sometimes leave, so I don't even know. But I think I will try to stream once a week, and maybe I'll just pick a day and stream on that day. You'd be curious to hear about advertisement experiments. Yeah, we could talk about that. Playthrough Recursed? I could do a playthrough of Recursed. I have played a bit of Recursed, but maybe I should get back to it. I never finished it. We could do it today. I don't know. Maybe later today. I will be streaming all day, incidentally. Probably until I die of exhaustion and fall asleep, which could be another 12 hours. So if you're interested in watching me play some other games, maybe we'll get to that later today. Anyways, oh, the other thing I want to mention is Dave Churchill has told me, he is our AI developer, he wrote Masterbot. He is a professor at Memorial University, and he has recently told me that they have started work on a neural network bot for Prismata. Something maybe along the lines of AlphaGo or Leela or those type of algorithms. Now, I don't know too much about the details, but I do know that he's got a student working on it with him, and it's a very exciting project. Dave will be around to talk with us later. Later this afternoon, he'll be joining me on Twitch for a discussion, and he'll clarify sort of the directions that they want to go. Now, I don't know if it's really AlphaGo or if it's based on sort of different architectures. I think there's sort of many questions that Dave will be able to answer. So come back in an hour, and we'll talk to Dave. And for you on YouTube, we will post a discussion afterwards. Will it get to first place on ladder? I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyways, that is the last topic for the news and insights show. Dave hides in a corner. I mean, so one of the interesting things about AI research is that sometimes it doesn't work, right? They don't even know whether it'll be able to beat Masterbot, right? We don't know. It'll be fun to find out. Anyways, that's all for the show. Oh yes, the tournament. Ruined Shadows is hosting a tourney. Ruined Shadows is there's a link on Reddit. Basically, go on Reddit and you'll see Ruined Shadows is hosting another RSPO tournament. Something like the third weekend of February. Somebody have the date. Is it like 25th or something like that? That will be fun. The Prismata Beta World Championship is going to happen. We're trying to think about when we want it to happen. And we're doing a bunch of releases with some of our publisher partners. We're thinking like March-ish, or late February, early March-ish. And so we want the Beta World Championship to sort of coincide with those releases, so that the period in between sort of these launches and our final transition from early access to final release alongside Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 are like the busiest and most productive times in terms of us doing updates, releasing campaign content, releasing other single-player content, and running tournaments like every other weekend, so that it's very active when new people are coming into the community. So we're trying to find dates for that. But essentially, I think after Ruined Shadows' tourney, possibly a week or 2 weeks after, will be the first Prismata Beta World Championship Grand Prix event. And I think we're going to do it the same as last time, with maybe 6-ish Grand Prix weekends and then a finals. And there will be a bunch of cash. I don't think we've decided how much, but like it will be on the order of like more than hundreds of dollars, right? Yeah, it'll be hyped as fuck. Will there be newbie-only non-masters tourneys? Well, we've been trying to think about doing some newbie events to get new players into the game. I think that we do want to run them, but it's hard to provide prizes because like good players could just sandbag to win the prizes, and often when you run a newbie tournament, the winner is just like the person who shouldn't have been there, right? So it's we do want to run sort of some just for fun tournaments aimed at newer players, but it's hard to think of prize structures that don't incentivize, like, you know, maybe what we do is we run it at the same time as the Grand Prix events. We'll have the big Grand Prix event and then the newbie event running concurrently. That might be an option, but we'll see. The advantage of doing it that way is then the people who don't think they're competitive for the Grand Prix have something that they could play in instead. But if we're broadcasting the Grand Prix, then maybe they would want to watch the Grand Prix instead. Like, there's pros and cons to that idea. Give out Prismata cards as prizes. Of course.